see, I've been busy edging this stuff, and I hope it's going to stay in place. You can see it makes quite a nice finish of it. It's as good as I can do with the limited tools that I have available. And so I did that edge there, and this edge here is also done. So I think it goes like that, like that. So I actually quite like it that there's only one white edge on it. It's got a white edge and a silver edge, and then true, so it's got a certain balance to that. And yeah, it should be okay. You can see I watch, I got 10 movies for £1, 10p each. It's a funny price they have in some of these shops. There you go, that's what they find moves them. If they don't move them fast enough, they have not enough space for all those DVDs that people are throwing out. As people don't watch DVDs anymore, but I like DVDs because, you know, they're always there, and you know, you don't have to be on the internet. You're not subjected to any advertising. Well, mostly not. Yeah. A rather enjoyable movie, I found. I had a look afterwards, and it didn't have a good write-up. But this is, of course, because it's an anti-profiteering, anti-capitalist movie, and they're all capitalists, and the media is all fake, and so the media is trying to put down movies like this, which I thought it was a good movie, and can highly recommend Jupiter Ascending. Very interesting film. Well, I've decided not to bolt it on because I've decided that there's enough screws in here. I have the right kind of screws. They're very substantial screws. They're just the right length so they don't go through to the other side, only just. And so it's substantial enough. And I can use the same screws for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them to go into here. I would screw it on now. It actually works very well. You can just lift it up here and then just clamp it down there. It can either go like that, if you can see that, or it can go like that, inside. Probably go inside like that. But I'm going to wait until I get to the boat because I don't know exactly, you know, there's cushions and stuff, so it's in a good place relative to the cushions. And you can see that's the top side. I've put that edge on there now. I've used the same screws to go into there. And that seems to be holding good too. So it's quite substantial enough, put it that way. And so we'll give it a shot. Of course it still needs sanding and varnishing. I'm going to do all that after I've finished working on it, when I put it on the boat. So that's our shelf. Done. Ready for the boat. It's nice to see things getting done. I've got a few other projects before I can go back to the boat. I just wanted to tell you how I found this. I found this much nicer to use than the other bigger, than this type. This is a more fully featured one. I found because this is perhaps not so fully featured, it was easier to select the functions that I needed. So I'm quite happy to recommend this kind of multimeter, and it's quite small for carrying around, and it's not as flimsy as I thought it might be at first. It's quite good. Yeah, well, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about mistakes, and the first thought is always the truth and the second thought's a lie. It's interesting. A thought about a thought. You know, if you have a thought about a thought is the same as speech. I am saying this. There's no first thought. Or no second thought. The first thought is what is being spoken now. Okay, and then if you think about that thought, that's like a thought about a thought. Okay, so when I first made this, I had this piece was this way round, and what I did was I drilled a hole and I countersunk it, and I put the screw in, and I looked at it and I thought, you know, this doesn't look right way round. And so I weighed it up and I thought, no, it's not the right way round. And so I pulled the screw out, turned it over. I had to countersink the other way around where I was. And I put the screw back in again, and then I drilled the holes. You know? And so what happened was, after I'd done all this and weighed it all up yesterday, I offered it up to the other piece and I realised it was the wrong way around. And that my turning it around was incorrect. It was a mistake. And so what happened was I had to unscrew it all and turn it around. And now luckily, when I made this thing, I was very carefully measured each of the screws so that the screws were in the right place, exact place relative to each other, but not exact. In fact, one screw, when I turn it around, I could screw these 4 screws into the same holes as it was the other way, but this one, no, this one hole doesn't line up. And so it's quite interesting, because I had the idea when I made this thing. You'll notice that these holes are closer together spacing than the other one, because I wanted to be able to cut a piece out if necessary, so that there was 2 screws here and 2 screws there and a piece missing, because this thing has to go around a curve, and I actually think it's going to work without cutting it out. But if it won't go in, if the curve is too much so this won't go onto the curve, then I'm going to have to cut a piece out, and then it should go onto the curve. It should. Or I can put a spacer under each side or something. You know, there's many ways of solving this problem. But it's interesting that the middle screw is not lined up. I'm not going to drill another hole yet. I'm going to wait till I get to the boat and find out whether this thing works or not, or whether I have to chop that out or whatever. So I'm just showing you that the first thought is correct. I had it correct. But then the mistake is also a good thing, because I'm learning something also from the mistake. This morning I went out and I thought I was going shopping, because I picked up my bag, my shopping bag, and I just felt like going out. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to shop for. I don't know why I'm moving this around. Okay, electronics. Well, what happened was when I went into Bromyard and I went and had a look. It's enough. Another video.